Good evening, friends and family, and thank you for coming to another night with Repair, Restore, and Grow Black Communities Behind Black Business. And we have another wonderful guest, Helen Smith of Helen's Tax Services. And Helen, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your very, very, very busy schedule to be with us tonight.
Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, and before we get started, as you know, we're a nonprofit organization, and we came together to help enhance the support and awareness of Black-owned businesses in the Chicago area because we feel that Black-owned businesses have the opportunity to help us circulate dollars in our communities by hiring Black people, by giving um, opportunities for other Black entrepreneurs in their businesses, by doing business with other Black businesses, by contributing to Black causes and serving as mentors to our young people who want to be entrepreneurs or other people who are aspiring to be entrepreneurs. And that's how that dollar can circulate. And the best way that we can enhance that is to support our businesses. And that's what we are about here at Repair, Restore, and Grow Black Communities. We have used some of our dollars to help businesses get websites. We fight for businesses, and we are great proponents of our Black-owned bookstores. We do have a resurgence of Black-owned bookstores here in the Chicago area, and we think it's very important that we read for knowledge about our history, knowledge about our perspectives. We have a plethora of authors out here, and we encourage you authors to put your books in our bookstores. I know Amazon is the go-to, but Amazon gets a very large portion of your profits. And so we have to think more differently and about that. And it's not always the easy route that is the best way. So we want you to support our Black bookstores. And we think so much of our Black bookstores that we feature a Black bookstore on our website every month. And this month we're doing 2 months in a row with the Underground Bookstore, which is located at 1727 East 87th Street. The proprietor is Brother Yoel, and he's been there for almost 30 years. So you can only imagine the reads that he has in there. He has all kinds of books in there, and they're very interesting and very enlightening books. And so you can also go to undergroundbookstore.com and look at his website. And we also have a book giveaway. Now, that's where we give a book away every month to you free of charge. If you can't pick it up in the bookstore, which is what we would prefer you to do, then we will ship it out. But our book of this month is Our Secret Society, Molly Moon, and the Glamour, Money, and Power Behind the Civil Rights Movement. Now, Molly Moon, she was the founder of the Urban League Club, and she was considered a fundraiser extraordinaire. She rubbed shoulders with Langston Hughes, Paul Robeson, Lorraine Hansberry, who wrote The Raisin in the Sun, and she raised the dollars to help fund the civil rights movement and the development of the Urban League. And this book was written by Tanisha C. Ford, who is a Black historian, and she writes a lot of books about especially Black women in our history. And so this is a very important read because then you can understand how many of these organizations, these institutions that we have out here, how they really got started. and how they raise the dollars to do so. So all you have to do is go to rrgbc.org and subscribe. And when you subscribe, then you become eligible to win a book. And it's just that simple. And like I said, we would prefer that you go to the underground bookstore to pick up the book, so you can look and see all of the wonderful books that he has in that bookstore. But if that's not possible, we will ship it out to you. So please subscribe. Also, with our books, we have a public policy position out that we are working on. We want our public libraries and we want our public schools to give contracts to our Black bookstores. If our Black bookstores could get just 10% of the contracts at the Chicago Public Schools, that would help them stay afloat. And it's always, there's a lot of money being spent, billions of dollars for contracts, for all kinds of things. We hear about all the money that's being spent with the immigrants. You have to ask yourself, who's getting those dollars? If they're spending $50 billion on immigrants, who's getting the dollars? And so we need our bookstores to get contracts to help them with what they're trying to do. So we ask you to go to Save Black Bookstores Chicago at change.org. That's Save Black Bookstores Chicago at change.org, and sign our petition to help us with that. And finally, the Southside Community Federal Credit Union, which is situated at Wentworth and Garfield in the shopping mall there, right off of the Dan Ryan Expressway. They have been there for over 20 years. Greg Brown is the CEO and president of that organization and that financial institution, and they have been giving loans, personal loans, mortgage loans, business loans, car loans, and financial literacy classes to people in the community who otherwise weren't able to get loans at some of these many banks that we have situated in our community. Again, not giving back like they should. And the best way for a bank to thrive is for you to open up an account. So please consider supporting the Southside Community Federal Credit Union. So let's get to our guest tonight, Helen. I ask you, I know Helen, she says, Denise, I am not trying to get a whole bunch of customers. She says, I've been out here doing this a long time, and I'm looking at retiring. But what I was saying to her is her service that she provides to the community is so important that she can actually provide some information that would be not only important to people that are working on their taxes, but for people who may be thinking about getting into this business. So that's why I'm so happy that you were able to come here tonight. And Helen, it's my understanding that you provide accounting services, bookkeeping, tax prep, financial planning, notary, secretarial services.
Yes, that is true. And
That
thanks again, Denise, for having me. It's a pleasure. It took me a while, but it's a pleasure. And you just provided some very encouraging and important information. I wrote it all down.
Oh my goodness. Okay, great. I'm glad you did. Okay. Well, we know one of the most important services on a personal level and on a professional level is getting our business in order. And so when we're talking about accounting and bookkeeping and tax prep and financial planning, that is what this is all about. And when people, when you have this together, then your experiences with the IRS, and your experiences with your finances can be a lot smoother because nobody wants to go down that rabbit hole and having a problem with the IRS, right, Helen?
Yes. And what people don't know or understand, especially businesses, is that they have their bookkeeping right there with them, their bank statement. The
Mm-hmm.
only thing is that it's the categorizing your different, supplies or whatever, putting things in its prospective category. And that's the main thing. So, because when the IRS, if they audit you, that's what they're going to look at, how you have
Mm-hmm.
things categorized. And if they ask you for something, you should be able to just hand it to them. So
And
that's
so,
one of the important things about taxes and keeping your books in order.
and you have to know what categories that you need to have, right?
Yes, certain things goes there because people think of buying a computer as a supply, but it's an office expense. So
Mm-hmm.
the way it works, anything that will last you more than a year is considered office expense. Anything under a year are supplies, your pencils and pens and paper. You
Okay.
use those kind of within a year. But if you buy a computer or laptop, that's usually gonna last you 3 or 4 years. So that's an office expense.
Okay.
Some people lump everything under supplies when it's not always a supply.
Okay. And that's why it's important to go to someone like you, because a lot of people don't know that. They
Yeah.
don't know what to write off. And like you say, how to put it in the right category. And then it comes back as an audit.
Yes.
Got you. Got you. Um, Dealing with the IRS can be a very taxing experience.
Yes. A
Uh,
very tempting one is that.
uh-huh, because you're dealing with people, so many different people, and they're dealing with so many people, hundreds
Exactly.
of thousands of people. And so you're talking to one department, doesn't know what the other department is doing,
Correct.
and
Hmm.
it can get to be very confusing. And so it's very important to get those taxes right. Helen, how long have you been doing this?
20 years.
20 years.
Approximately 20 years. Yes.
Okay.
I
And
started 20 years ago. I worked at Sears, Roebuck and Company for 25 years.
oh my goodness.
And then when Sears left the West Side, they went to Hoffman Estate, and some of us went out to Skokie. I was the one that went to Skokie. When they
Uh-huh.
closed there in Skokie, I went to, I'm not sure if you heard of GD Sear, the pharmaceutical company.
No, I'm not
Yeah,
familiar.
GD Sear. Well, they're the makers of the birth control pill.
Okay.
And they were located in Northbrook. So I went there and I landed a nice job in the compensation department. And that's where I got all my skills about payroll.
Ah,
Yeah, that's where I learned my payroll skills. At Sears, I learned my office skills and, how to do my typing or learning the computer. So I put the two together and then I branched out into my own business.
and see, that's another thing. People work on a job, and there's something that you can learn on that job.
Oh, yeah,
There's so many things if you pay attention to what's going
exactly.
on, and not just
Exactly.
be go have the humdrum attitude. I'm here and going through the motions, but any type of job situation that you go into, there's so much that you can learn.
So much. My father always told me, whatever you do, whatever work you do, learn all that you can, because that is
Mhm.
something they cannot take away from you what you know.
Absolutely.
And
And
that
so
stuck with me. So I just whatever work I do, I kind of focus in on it and remember as much as I can about it, because one day it could benefit you.
absolutely. And so what made you go down to become the road to become a tax preparer?
Yeah, because that wasn't one of the things I wanted to do in the future. I never thought of it really. When I was at the
Mhm.
pharmaceutical company, I went back to college. Well, I
Okay.
started college, and because they paid the tuition, I always took advantage whatever my job offered.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to school for business administration. And while I was doing all of this working, taking care of my mom, raising a child, trying to get my degree, I was doing taxes by hand for family and friends.
Okay.
And the pharmaceutical company started talking, these corporate jobs, they laying off every 6 months, every year. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it has you up in the air. Should I do this? Should I buy a car or
Mm-hmm.
do a big vacation because they may lay off? And I kind of like got tired of that. And I thought, I'm going to try something on my own. And
Okay.
that's when I went into tax. And once I came out on my own, I was able to focus on it full time and it grew. So I
Okay.
now have 1,500 clients.
Oh my
Started out with
goodness.
35.
Do you enjoy what you're doing?
I do. I
That's
do. That makes it not like work to me because
that's
I
right.
enjoy what I do.
You enjoy what you're doing. So if
Yeah.
somebody is hiring, is looking at having someone do their taxes, what should they look for in that person?
As far as well, first of all, hopefully that they got credentials.
Mm-hmm.
You really want to work with someone that has some type of credentials in taxes. If they've taken a course or have taken a course, and then like the IRS, they require that we have 15 credit hours every year. So
Okay.
that means you got to do seminars at least 6 times a year to keep up with the changes and what's going on. So the
Mm-hmm.
first thing you want to do is make sure that prepare has the proper credentials for tax preparer.
So they should have a tax preparer's credentials. Is that
Yes,
what it's called?
and that's called a no ASPT,
Okay. Okay.
registered tax return preparer.
So that lets you know that they're keeping up with that they've not only learned what they need to know about doing the taxes, but they're keeping up with those
The rules that
new
yes,
rules that come up all the
exactly,
time. Because
exactly.
that is constantly changing.
All the time, all the time.
And in order
Right
to
now, they're looking at trying to have people really do their own taxes, not say the complicated returns, maybe businesses, but the simple returns. IRS is putting out a pilot in January where they want people to do their own returns on their website for
hmm
free because it's a lot of people can't do their own.
hmm
But a lot of people kind of shy away from tax free. They're gonna make a mistake, so they putting that pilot out in 7 states. Illinois will not be one of them, not yet. But there's
Oh, I wonder why. What's
but there's
Illinois
seven
holding out
states.
for?
What they're dealing mostly with are the states that do not have state taxes, and that's Florida,
Uh,
Texas, Nevada. No, Arizona have them. Tennessee,
what
so they
about
got some.
Indiana?
Indiana has state
They
taxes.
have state taxes. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
Indiana does have state taxes.
Wow.
Most of the states that does not do have state tax are your southern states.
Okay. Okay. So we talked about, I noticed on your website you have accounting, bookkeeping services, and taxes. So wanted to talk a little bit about each one of those to talk about how they're different. What would be the difference in terms of someone will come into you and they wanted accounting services? What would that look like? Or first of
Okay,
all, who would be coming to you for accounting services?
businesses.
Businesses.
Yes,
Okay.
they're mostly businesses.
Okay.
They need to serve because they're trying to promote their business, so they don't really have a lot of the time to really focus on their accounting piece of the business.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the ones that will come to me. And actually, all it entails is providing me their bank statements. And I have a few companies that allows me to go in and download their bank statements from their bank, and
Mm-hmm.
then I go and categorize their items that their expenses. And
Mm-hmm.
those that I'm not familiar with, there's an option or a title actually that says "Ask my accountant," and I put those under that particular category, pass it on to them, and then they kind of tell me what it might be. Because
Okay.
sometimes your bank statement don't always give you what that expense may be. It'll give you the date, the amount that was taken out, but hardly ever does it a name what that was.
Okay. So you would know what
Mhm.
that is.
Right.
Okay. So somebody opens up a business, they should have an accountant that could go in and categorize all of their income and expenditures.
Exactly. And that way, at the end of the year, you just print off a profit and loss detail and
Mm-hmm.
just do the tax return from there.
Okay. Okay.
So when someone hires me, I try to do them about a quarter, so that it's not a lot to be done towards the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So I try
Okay.
to maintain the books every quarter. I give them a profit and loss sheet so they can see, how they're looking themselves.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
sometimes when they go for a loan or something, they may ask for it. That bank may ask for a profit and loss statement. And
Okay.
so if they started out with that, it's already there. All they have to do is give me a call, say they need it, and I, print it out for them or email it to them, and they got it right there.
Mhm. That's great. That's great. And I think you are hands on. Your clients can get in touch with you. You're available. Uh, and a lot of people set up a business, and their clients are kind of at a distance. But I get the impression that you're more hands on with your clients.
Yes, I prefer to be. When
Mm-hmm.
you have that close relationship, you get to understand each other, and it just makes things easier for you and for the client
Mm-hmm.
that we get to know each other, and you're able to get me when you need me.
Okay.
That's the best, yeah. Because sometimes you're thinking of something then and there, and you call and you want to know, have a question, or you can text me or email me with that question or what have you, and I get on it as soon as I can.
Mm-hmm. So, what are some of the challenges that people have with the accounting?
Not having their papers, that's some of the challenges.
I'm sure.
And then some people I find they kind of like it's not so interesting, so they don't really get it together. I guess I want to say some clients are last minute.
Okay.
They hold back until the very last minute, and then they kind of put everything together. Then, so the challenging part is that there's so much then at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can get your things every quarter or every other month, we can keep up with it as it goes. But some people do still wait to the very end of the year, and then they're giving me 12 months of things to go through, 12
Mm-hmm.
months of statements. So that can be time consuming.
Okay. Well, you gotta like that if you're dealing with all of that. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So now the bookkeeping. What is a bookkeeper?
Well, book same is almost the same as a as doing the accounting work or maintaining the books. It's just
Mm-hmm.
two different names for it. Now, for a bookkeeper, you get certified as a bookkeeper. An
Mm-hmm.
accountant sometimes mostly deal with a CPA. They both do the same things. The only thing is with a CPA, they can go, before the courts and represent you.
Oh.
Uh, Yeah, that's really the difference because they done went and took the test, and so but now they're not going to represent you unless they have the proof. It's just like going to court. A
Mm-hmm.
lawyer isn't going to represent you unless he got the proof.
Okay.
And so that's how that goes. That's really the difference. But the bookkeeper does the same thing as the accountant.
Okay.
Maintain your books via your bank accounts or
Mm-hmm.
your bank statements rather. And
Okay.
then there's some things you may do on your credit card that may not get to your bank statement or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have to provide that because there's no way of knowing what you've done with that credit card unless it is connected with your bank statement.
Okay. Now I know some like American Express keeps I think they try to categorize your
For you,
expenses. They
yeah,
do they have a
yeah,
printout that you get at the end
yeah,
of the year,
they do.
where they try to categorize what you spent your money on.
Uh-huh. And
Mm,
that's very good. They are good with that. See, now that's something that would not show on your bank statement. So that would be something you would have to supply to me or the bookkeeper or your accountant. You would have to supply that information so it can be added into that profit and loss statement.
okay, okay, okay. So people got to get their business in order. Get their
Yes.
business
And
in
but
order.
most of the people I encounter, they're pretty good at having it together.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty
Okay.
good.
Now the taxes. You do taxes for individuals, and you do taxes for uh, regular businesses, and you do taxes for
Corporate,
nonprofits,
nonprofit corporations,
corporations.
S corp, C corps, and partnerships.
Okay. So with individual tax, I'm trying to see how are these different when it comes time to do taxes? When we're looking at individuals doing taxes versus these businesses and then a nonprofit. If we can just kind of
Well,
talk about each one individually. So, individual coming to you with their taxes, what are you
well,
needing
the
from them?
difference of the four is the deadline. Individuals' taxes are due by April 15th. And
Mm-hmm.
I guess we'll get back into that routine for a while there. They extended during the pandemic. And then you got your corporations that are due March 15th, especially your S Corps.
Mm-hmm.
Your S Corps are due by March the 15th, your partnerships March the 15th, and your individual and your C Corps are due April the 15th. Then you got your 990, which is your nonprofit. Depending on the year, they are the fiscal year or calendar year. A fiscal year is due by May 15th. I'm sorry, not May 15th. The calendar year is due by May 15th for nonprofit. Then
Mm-hmm.
the fiscal year is always due by November 15th because the fiscal year ends June 30th. So you have 5 months from June 30th to get the tax return done,
Mm-hmm.
unless you do an extension. And if you get an extension, it's extend that time 6 months. And
Okay.
that's for all. March 15th, you can get an extension. That's your cooperation, S Corps, and partnerships. And
Okay.
then your next would be the individual, April the 15th, and your corporation, your C Corp. Your C Corps are your Walmarts and your Targets. Those are C corporations.
Oh, okay.
They are those big companies or what have you. So
Wow.
that's really the difference.
Okay.
That's the difference.
Okay.
Is
So
their deadline date.
so for individuals that are coming to you to do their taxes, what do they need to what do people, because tax time is coming up soon,
Mm-hmm.
and so what should people be doing now, individuals, to get
They
ready for
be
their tax?
gathering up their document because they can't do anything with the W-2s or the 1099s until January. But if
Mm-hmm.
they know they worked as a contractor, they know they're going to be getting a 1099 by the end of January. If they have a job that gives out a W-2, they know they'll be getting that W-2 at the end of January. So what they should be doing is looking at if they itemize it. Now, usually if you're just doing a W-2, no dependents or anything, then all you can do is that person can just wait for their W 2. But if you're a homeowner, you got rental property, then you need to be looking at how you're going to go about getting that 1098. That's a form for the homeowners that shows your interest you paid for the year and the property tax. Now, that usually comes out from the mortgage company in January. But a lot of these companies are putting everything online, and they
Mm.
would like for you to go online and pull down your own documents.
Okay.
So that's one thing for, and same thing with the property renters. You need to have, if you're paying your own gas and light for your building, you need to get all that together. Another way you can do that is call the gas company in January after December 31st, and they can give you a whole outline of what you paid for that year. That's the gas company, that's ComEd, electric company. And some people are tearing their heads out trying to go and
And find
look
everything.
at, yeah, when you can go, they make it so easy now. You can go right to the company or get you an online account for your own, your electricity and your gas, and go in there, and there it is for you. That's it. It's very easy.
Now, see, they have to put the categories together for the businesses. Is there something that individuals can do where they can be keeping up with all of, their expenses, that they're having to spend money on?
Well, there's nothing really the individual can do unless they are self-employed. Now,
Mm-hmm.
if you're self-employed and that means you filing your business on your personal, then you need to do just like the regular business returns, your regular C corps or S corps. You need to R990s. You need to keep up with that, and if you need to, you can do your bank statements and keep up with your expenses and income. It's just that it's not done separately; it's done on your personal return.
Okay.
And
Okay.
they're all similar, the same income and expenditures.
So what are some, everybody wants to get some money back at tax time.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that people can do, to try to get money back, especially with the new tax laws coming up and everything? What are some of the things people can do?
Well, Denise, the main thing to do is to pay in the proper amount of taxes.
Mm,
And even if you have all these deductions, you're going to get some of that money back that you paid in. But the only people that get money back really without paying in taxes would be people with children. And
mm.
most of the time, that's children under 17, and depending on the amount of the income. See, for one child, that earned income credit runs out at 38,000.
Did
For
that
two,
change? Wasn't it?
no, that didn't change. It
No?
went up a little. It used to be at 30 something, 32, then it went to 35. Now
Mm-hmm.
it's at 38. So it's almost at 40 for one child, but it's very little that you get.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very little that you get. But people with two and three kids, now they see the most of a refund with the number of dependents because you get $2,000 off if the child is under 17. So
Mm-hmm.
if you got three kids, that's $6,000 off your income off the
Okay.
bat. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So, but people, a lot of folks have gotten hung up on the earned income credit. I got some ladies that weren't making a lot and had
Mm-hmm.
children. Then they went to school and they got their nursing degree and they nurses and they still looking for earned income credit, making
Oh,
90,000 is not happening. So the main thing though is to pay in the proper amount of taxes, which is usually 10% of what you make. So if you're making $500 a week, you should be paying in at least $50 out of that 500 to federal, and then 5% of to state, which would be what, $25.
mhm.
So 50 should go to federal, 50 should go to state. Medicare and Social Security is an automatic thing. So that's going to come out regardless. And if for Social Security, it's 6.2%. For Medicare, it's 1.45%.
So they really should sit down with you and figure out those withholdings because that's a little confusing to some people,
Yeah, it
how
is.
to set that up.
It is. And on top of that, Trump made it even more confusing because they changed the W-4. You
Mm-hmm.
can't go in now and say one dependent or two dependent. They got it where, okay, if you got two dependents under 17, then you put two in that box times 2,000, that's 4,000. So now they looking at, okay, we're gonna take out less tax costs, 4,000. So in the end, if you don't go, there's a line on the W-4 that says extra withholdings.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't put anything there, you may break even at the end of the year or you may owe.
Mm-hmm.
So the object of it is on line 4. It says extra withholdings. You may want to go in there and put in an extra 20 or $30 to be withheld every pay period.
Okay.
And I would advise most people, or really everyone that's working, to always try to pay in more because you're going to get it back.
Mm-hmm.
So it's best for the IRS to owe you because the way they work, if you owe them, and if you're not paying them by April the 15th, the full amount, they're going to add interest until it's paid in full. So you still giving them money.
And that interest is high, isn't it?
It is.
Do you
It's
know
high.
what the interest is on it? Like,
No, because it depends on the amount you owe. So that's something
oh,
that they figure on their own.
mm-hmm.
It depends on the amount you owe
And you paying that money until you pay it off.
until you pay it off, and interest keep adding. Now I have heard is their interest is worse than credit card interest.
Ooh.
So
Mm.
in order not to owe them, then it's best to just. And some people go, "Oh, that's so much," but once you do it, then you get used to it and it'll be like nothing. So you'll, end up not having to pay the government. They'll probably have to pay you.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So people need to look at those withholdings and
Yes,
know, and if they
exactly.
don't know, then they need to talk to their tax preparer or accountant to find out, how much you should be taking, letting them take out every month.
Yes. I had a gentleman here today. He was recommended to me. He has a catering business and he owed last year, not a lot, but he owed, and he was very unhappy about that. So he sat here today and he did an estimated tax payment of over $1,000. So that lets me know he has it because how many people at this time of the year want to spend their $1,000 to the IRS?
Mm,
But he did it at, I mean, he didn't frown at all. He said, I want to make this estimated payment because I don't want to owe them. He
mm-hmm.
said, even if I get a little back, I don't want to have to pay them nothing.
Yeah, I think most people feel that way. They would like to get something back. That's really nice when you can get something back, but
Hmm.
at least not to owe.
Yeah,
Hmm. And
yeah.
owning property is very helpful, isn't it? To
And sometimes it is, but
hmm
now I find that a lot of my clients who have rental property,
hmm
the expenses that they could write off, they really not the one paying it. See, their electric bill, the only thing they may be paying is that water bill. But their tenant is paying their own gas, their own lights.
hmm
So that's, when they do that, you can't write it off because you're not paying it, your tenant is paying.
Okay.
So yeah, and then as time goes, the rent keeps coming in, but the expenses get lower. So when that happens, chances are you're gonna be owing the government.
What
Because the
about the
it,
interest? The interest if you have a mortgage? And,
Yeah, but that goes down. So over a period of time, as you pay it, it goes down.
mm,
And then people, a lot of the landlords going up on the rent. So now they're gonna be getting more money in. But that rent, that building may be 20 years old. They don't pay for 20 years, so the interest is not exceeding the
hmm
rent that's coming in.
Wow. And
Yeah, so
I
that's
know rent is really getting really high here in Chicago. It's
I
not
know, yeah.
I'm hearing people paying 17, 1800, 2500 a month for
Mm-hmm.
apartments.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah. So the only thing the landlord really have is the property tax, the water bill, any
Okay.
repairs that they may, incur. Now, if the landlord doesn't live in the building, everything that landlord does to that building is 100% write off. But if they
Okay.
live in the building, only a percentage is a write off
Mm-hmm.
because you can't write off the part that you live in.
Okay.
Hmm.
Now, what if someone has a home-based business?
Okay, then you have to determine how much space are you using.
Mm-hmm.
Like me, I have a home-based business. So my determination is 40% of my home is what I use for my business space. So
Okay.
I can write out 40% of my utilities, my gas, my light, my water bill. My water bill, because I do have clients coming in and out who
Sure.
uses the bathroom, who may ask for water
Sure.
or something like that. So I can write off of 40% of my water bill. Now, if you got a business that doesn't cost for clients to come in, then the water bill may not be able to be written off.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. But you
Okay.
determine what you feel you're using for some people use 50%
Okay.
and they use half of their bill or their mortgage, or they'll pay the rent, will pay them rent. I mean, the business will pay them rent and they get to write off the rent.
Okay.
But now there's a catch to that. If your business is paying you rent, now you got to do rental because you rent to the business. So you have to write that in. That rent that the business paying you is income to you.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Okay. Wow, that's a lot to know.
Yes.
Okay. I heard an accountant on a show that was talking to people about hiring their children to do work and
Yes.
being able to write that off.
Right.
What does that look like?
Well, that's you still have to give them a W-2. They just don't pay Social Security and Medicare.
Okay.
Yeah, the child, depending on the age, it does not have to pay into Social Security and Medicare. So that's a savings for the business owner.
They have to be a certain age,
Not 15 or less.
15 or younger. Hmm.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
So those are some ways that people can try to get some money back
And
or
try to get some money, then they can,
not
yeah,
owe.
right.
So now,
And,
what about the businesses and their taxes? Um, what are some things that they need to do or they can do to help their tax situation?
situation. Put themselves on payroll.
Mm,
Yeah, but now there's taxes involved in payroll. You got to pay those employment taxes.
mm-hmm,
That means you whatever you pay yourself, you got to take out. Just like if you're on a job, they taking out federal, they taking out state, Medicare, Social Security. So you would have to do the same, but all that is a write off to you.
mm-hmm.
Hmm. And I
Okay,
would advise that to business who are kind of established and they see good growth in their business.
okay. What about a new business? Somebody just starting a business.
Well, a new business, usually you're going to have a loss for the IRS allow you 5 years of losses.
Oh,
So a new business, you're usually going to have a loss because you're going to be out of more getting that business up and running.
mm-hmm.
Probably you're going to be out of more than what you're bringing in for a while.
Okay,
Hmm.
okay.
So, but I do know another lady that started a daycare. She made money the first year.
Mm-hmm.
She did.
Okay. Well, that's a
Mhm.
pretty, I'm assuming that's a lucrative business. There's so many
I
people that need childcare.
Yeah. Hmm.
Uh-huh. And then depending on the age, uh, especially if you're taking infants, if you're taking care of infants too.
And she was, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, she did very well.
Wow.
Hmm.
Well, great for her.
Good, yeah, yeah. But she
Mm-hmm.
didn't like paying those taxes. But it's like you said, no, none of us really want to pay them, but we look for a refund.
Yeah, you like it when you get those refunds.
Hmm.
And so now you also work with you said the corporations. That's
Hmm.
another entity there. Uh,
Right.
so what are they doing to, enhance their return or protect their interest? Um,
Okay. All businesses want thing. A business could really have a lot of expenditures, but it's gonna cost you to have them.
mm-hmm,
You can have you should have insurance for your business,
mm-hmm,
whether it's a separate entity or in your home. Some liability insurance, you need to have that because with
mm-hmm.
people coming in and out, you never know. And today people believe in suing for one little. If you get to cross that T, they ready to sue. So insurance would be a write off, and cooperation definitely should get insurance. But
Okay.
now that's another thing that could cost you, but it's a write off against what you make.
Mm-hmm,
Then putting themselves on payroll, and if they have employees, putting them on payroll. Again, you're gonna be paying your quarterly taxes in to the government and to the state, but at the end, that's a write off against your income that you make.
mm-hmm,
So there's a lot of things that any of those corporations could do, even partnerships. You have to look around and find out different things that you can do now. Even if you're home based like myself, um, like I say, 40% of everything I do in my business is a write off here in my home.
mm-hmm.
Even for the lawn care, I do because I have people coming in and out. So you want to have your business beautified. So
Sure,
I do 40% of what I pay my gardener, 40% of what I pay my lawn people, the snow removal, because all of that is a part as an expense, and you got to keep things cleared up for your client.
sure,
Hmm.
sure. The snow
Yep.
removal. Mm-hmm,
Hmm. And you got your cable bill that can be written up. I do 40% because when my clients are here, if I have someone waiting, I may have my TV on. They're being entertained while they're
mm-hmm.
waiting.
The internet service,
Yep, your internet service, your
telephone.
phone.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
If you have two phones, then you can have one for business. The one for the business is 100% write off. If you have one phone, then you cannot, because the IRS would not buy it that you got one phone and you using it the entire time for business.
Mm-hmm.
So then you got to figure out the percentage you may be using that phone. Now, some people do use their phone a lot for business. So you can say 70%, 80%, but not the whole 100%.
Okay. Okay. So then you also we have your nonprofit organizations. 'Cause now that's a big A lot of people start nonprofit organizations.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, I noticed.
Mm-hmm. And so, what is your position on that as far as them and their taxes?
Well, nonprofit is just what it says. Nonprofit. I mean, if you show a profit, you don't pay taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing is the state could audit you and want to know your line items or what you're doing to that created this or created that. But non-for-profits really don't, like the churches and all, they don't pay taxes.
Mm-hmm.
So if they show $1 million profit, they don't pay taxes on it.
So the
So
money that
that's the
they're getting in, they're supposed to be spending it.
spending it right.
Mm-hmm.
They're supposed to be spending it, in the proper areas or whatever they got it for.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you mean by line item. Sometimes the state will ask, because most nonprofit the money is coming from the state. The
Okay.
federal gives it to the state, and the state gives it out to the nonprofit. And so the state may ask a question, like I got a daycare lady made 1.4 million.
Mm.
But she got about 15 employees. She pays herself well. She pays the employees well. She do transportation. So she ended up her profit ended up out of 1.4 to 88,000 as a profit. That what was left.
But
So
that's
she
not
only
a
had,
nonprofit. But that's not a nonprofit. That was a regular.
well, she filed a 990.
Oh,
Anytime you file a 990, that's considered not nonprofit.
okay.
Yeah. She filed a 990.
So
But
what
she
is
had
is there
go
a
ahead.
cap? Is there a percentage in terms of what can be left over? Because you said she got 1.4 million, but she was able to pay herself.
Yeah, well, she pays herself well, and she got teachers. In her case, the state gives her money to pay teachers.
Mm-hmm.
So there's someone that went to school maybe and got a master's degree. They ain't coming in there being paid no little money. So she
Okay.
pays out some good money. I mean, I think her payroll was like 653,000.
Okay.
Yeah, and she's the executive director, so she's paying herself well about 100 a year. So, but she got good money coming in too.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, are there different types of nonprofit uh, organizations? Are there different categories? Or are they all under one umbrella?
Well, they're all on the count of one umbrella. It's just that some nonprofits that are very small, just getting started, you file a 990 EZ. And then some that are pretty, say what, mid to top, then they file a straight out 990.
Okay.
So I think it's like, how does it go? Under five, under 1 million, it's the 990 EZ. And
Okay.
over a million, then it's the 990.
Okay. Okay.
But I start all mine off with the 990 because it doesn't matter which one you use. I just do the 990 because if you have to end up switching over, it's a long process. So I just do them all on the 990.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. And they have state forms that they have to fill out too, right? Forms that go
Those
to the
not those
state.
non for profit.
Yes. The
Well,
non-for-profit.
that's that. Isn't that AG or something?
Yes. Yes, I think so.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Isn't I think that goes to your attorney general, right?
Right. Right.
Hmm.
And you take care of those too.
For those who want, but most of you, I think I've got about one or two that wants me to do that. The others do their own
They do their
because
own.
they do it from their tax return.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because all the answers to the AG comes from the tax return.
Okay. Okay. Wow. That is a lot. And then you get into the financial planning uh, service. And what is that looking like? What are you doing with that?
Well, the financial planning really, I just sit down with people and let them know how they may be able to invest their money. But I have a financial planner that I do recommend them to.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. And they help them with
Investment,
investments.
investment, yes.
Mm-hmm.
How to take their monies if they got it. Look at it and see. Look at their portfolio if they have one to see if they're making their money. If their money making money,
Mm-hmm.
the best possible way. That's what.
Is investing in the stock market good now? Or I know that's long. Always they say stock market is long term.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
it
we just
fluctuates. And
uh-huh.
they also say depending on your age, see, a younger person get into the stock market. If it goes down, then they got a chance to regroup.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they're lost. But if you're a
Okay.
certain age and you're 65, 70, it's probably time to be more conservative in your investments.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay.
But
Um,
the main thing about financial planning is don't put everything in one basket.
okay.
That's the
Diversify.
main. Hmm.
Diversify.
Yeah,
Okay.
there you go. Diversify.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then you also offer secretarial services.
Yeah.
And now what does that look like? Because you offer a
Okay.
lot of services, Helen.
I do, but I don't
You
really use
do.
it as much. I used to when I started out, but the secretarial service, if someone needed some letters or papers or something written up or typed up, then I offer that service. But now that
Mhm.
has become like somewhat of a pass because a lot of people now they're into the social media
Mm,
with different things. So people don't do letters and things like when I first started 20 years ago.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They don't need that need for sending a letter out or anything like that.
Yes,
So
they do, because some of that writing on social media, some of the grammar and the punctuation is terrible. They're not even thinking about how to spell words.
so they just put it out
They
there,
don't
right?
put anything out there, right? If however it sounds, that's how they write it.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
everybody, but I see too much of that.
Hmm. But
Hmm.
they getting away from our style, Denise, a little bit. They are. People are. I mean, things are so different now.
Yeah.
Like they tell me they done took the cursor writing out of the school. I'm going, really?
Yep.
That used to be the thing,
Yep.
knowing how to write.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely. And to me, I'm a speech pathologist, and so I understand the importance of different skills that we learn, and the impact that it has on your brain and your cognition. And so just like with a child, learning how to crawl, before they learn how to walk, it's like if you miss that step, you kind of miss something, in terms of
yeah,
your cognition. And so handwriting in cursive, you know, has another impact on the brain. And
yeah.
so, I guess they feel like you can just go and scribble anything because you
And
can sign everything online and it doesn't matter how it's
mm-hmm,
signed. I don't know
mm-hmm.
how they would match your signatures now. They used to,
Really?
yeah,
Yeah,
they used
really.
to
Because
match.
some people make an O with the little curve onto it, and they think
Uh-huh.
they're done. Yeah,
Or
some people
just
I
a
have to tell them the IRS, you have to sign that a little bit better. They would,
Oh my
so
goodness. So, and then you also offer, I see here notary
yes, I'm a
services. So
notary.
what do you notarize for? Because I know some people don't notarize for everything.
Right. Well, I
So,
notarize mostly everything. Most things that have come to me has been regarding real estate, and mostly that's about it. Real estate. Maybe someone who have passed and they need to get something notarized that they are
mhm.
the heir or the beneficiary or what have you. So
Okay.
I do those notaries. Yes.
Wow. So you
And
doing it
then I
all.
did the notaries one time. I made $1,800 doing a notary for this campaign they were doing for a candidate to get on the ballot. And a
Mm,
friend of mine, her husband and son, was doing the going around getting the signatures,
yes.
and so each sheet needed to be notarized. Boy,
Okay.
they brought me a lot of sheets.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so and I notarized those. So it all depends. Anything usually that can be need to be notarized, I can do it. I can
Mm-hmm.
notarize it. Yeah, but I hear our currency change. Some of them not doing any notaries at all.
Who?
You know, the currency exchange.
Oh
Some people
yeah,
just go to
yeah.
the currency.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
very limited.
yeah.
They're very limited. If they're doing them at all, they're very limited to what they're doing. So
Hmm.
you're just providing a plethora of services and very much needed services. All of this is very important for people getting their own personal business together, making sure their businesses is organized and running together, and helping people with secretarial services and financial planning. It's like a tree. It's just grown
The
more
one
and
stop.
more branches, more and
Yeah,
more
I
branches.
call myself the one stop shop.
Wow. So, what would you say to someone that was interested in getting into what you do? What
Okay,
would
into
you,
the
what
taxes,
advice
right?
what advice would you give them?
My advice would be anybody interested in doing taxes, my advice would be to go and work really for H&R Block because I worked for them for like 2 tax seasons.
Okay.
And then you can learn and you'll get to know if this is something you want to do. And what I did is I noticed how H&R Block they kind of push people, and I always wanted to take my time to explain to people that they could do this, and it
Mm-hmm.
was like, dude, get them out, move them. And so
Mm-hmm.
I kind of pulled out from H&R Block, but I learned about taxes with them, and
Okay.
I got all these different clients to learn different things about taxes. And
Mm-hmm.
then I pulled out to myself. I started to tell some of them, well, I do taxes from home. And
Mm-hmm.
they started coming to me, and I was able to explain certain things to them.
Mm-hmm. And
So you
see,
got
that's
to have a passion and a caring, attitude.
absolutely. And that's the true spirit of an entrepreneur. You learn your craft, and maybe you're working for a company and you have to work under their constraints, but now you can take it and do it the way you know you can do it, where it was
Hmm.
really be beneficial, and you built a very successful business.
Thank
Obviously,
you.
a lot of people trust you, and you've helped a lot of people, kept a lot of people out of trouble. Absolutely. So what are some of the major changes with the taxes that people can look forward to for this year? Any
Some of the
major
major
changes?
changes,
Mm-hmm.
well, actually, there's not many with the individuals.
Okay.
There's a few changes with the businesses. One of the changes, though, with the individual, they limited us at one time about home improvement items.
Okay.
It was capped at $500 no matter what you did. Well, now, starting in January, they'll let us take these deductions every year. So if you buy a furnace this year, you can still get that $500. If you buy um, wash and dryer, they're even allowing us now to get credit for that. So
Okay.
it's going to be done each year now. So that's a good plus because
Oh,
they had capped that at one time. It was once you did that 500, no matter what else you brought, you couldn't take it anymore.
so
So now
improvements that you made to your home,
home,
there's
yes,
there,
they've
there's more
lifted that.
write-offs.
Yeah, they've lifted that. So that's a good thing.
Okay. Yeah, people
Hmm.
need all the help they can
They
get
could get,
there.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then your standard deduction has gone up, so that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, head of household will get about 20,000 off their income, and married, filing, and jointly will get about 28, and
Mm-hmm.
singles will get about close to 14,000.
Okay.
So that's a good thing too. But that goes up each year.
Okay. What
Mhm.
about charitable contributions? I forgot to ask about that. You know.
Well, that's the thing. The standard deduction, the way Trump did it when he took the standard deduction and kind of put everything in it. That's why our standard deductions went up. It used to be 4,500. But see, it went up now to like 27. So someone who's married, when they itemize, they need to have over $27,000 worth of itemization
Mm-hmm.
because you can't get but one or the other. You either get the 27,000, but if your itemized is 28, then you're gonna get
Mm-hmm.
the 28,
Okay.
and that includes your contribution.
Okay.
And see, a lot of people, it's hard for a lot to go past that 27.
Oh,
Or for head of household, you getting $20,000 off your income. So it's kind of hard to get past $20,000 even when you itemize.
okay.
Because if you've been in your home a while, your interest may be 4,000.
Okay.
You give a contribution. What if you give 7,000? That's 4. That's 11. Your property tax may be 3. That's 14. So see how you still below that 20.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have to come below, but you can still do your charitable contribution. Now,
Mm-hmm.
during pandemic, they allowed us $600 for couples to be deducted and 300 for single.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Okay.
It was 600 for the head of household too. But since the pandemic is gone, that has been taken away.
So for those people who don't know, because you'd be surprised the simplest things that people really may not know, what constitutes a head of household?
Someone living in your home with you.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, you're right, don't know because some people say, I am head of my household. Then I said, well, who live with this? And me? I
Mm-hmm.
live by myself. No.
So you're not head of
I
household.
already do not see you as head of yourself. So,
Mm-hmm.
head of household means someone else lives in the house with you. Now, you make the most money,
Mm-hmm.
but that other person can go to work or whatever. They can have income coming in. They make you head of the house because you make the most money and they living in the house with you.
Okay.
Now, your children, as children with you, they automatically make you head of the household.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. So those people still got grown kids at home.
Well, they could be head of household. They still
Yeah,
making the most money
that's
because
right.
that person can still file as long as they're filing single. No
Mm-hmm.
two people's in the same house supposed to file head of household because only one person can be head of the house.
Now, what if the children are making more money than you are?
Then that they need to get together and the child be the head of household and claim the parent. But not claim the parent. But there's a section on there you can put that person in there to qualify you for head of household.
Okay.
And that gives you the higher standard deduction.
Okay.
Hmm.
Wow. This has been a lot of information. You
Well,
know,
I
but
got a few people that they do get together with their children and they see who gonna
you're
benefit
gonna
the most.
benefit. Okay.
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay. Wow.
That's the same thing with a married couple. It's
Mm-hmm.
best for them to see if they're gonna benefit filing together or married filing separate.
Mm-hmm.
Because in a lot of cases, when that income is split, they better to file married filing separate. Because when you
Okay.
put that income together, it puts you in a higher bracket.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay.
It's a workout thing just to see how it go. Now, I would do that for my clients. Some people, if you go to H&R Block, they may not take the time to do two tax return, and then they'll charge you for both.
Mm-hmm.
But I would do that for my clients, just to let them know so they'll know which way to go the next time.
Okay.
Hmm.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, like I said, this has been a lot of good information. And you're providing one of the most important services or plethora of services that we need. And I'm very appreciative of the work that you do. And
Thank you. Thank you.
so, if someone wanted to ask some questions, and like I said, I know you're not necessarily looking for more clients, but if somebody wanted to ask some questions or talk to you, how could they get in touch with you, Helen?
Well, they could call me.
Okay.
Yeah, my number is 773-233-8660. And
Okay.
yes, I am in the market for retiring, but it'll probably be a year or two.
Oh, that's
It'll
not
be a
too
year
far
because
away.
I'm trying to really get my son and daughter-in-law into it so that I don't, just drop my clientele.
Okay.
Yeah, because like you said, a lot of people trust me. They already saying, well, you don't have to do nobody else taxes, but keep doing mine.
Oh, well, it's about building relationships.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. And
that's what
one
it's.
guy told me, he said he's so comfortable. He said, I'm so comfortable here. All I gotta do is drop my papers in your mailbox and I
Mm-hmm.
keep on going and I know I'm gonna get all my paperwork back.
That's right.
Uh, yeah.
That's
So
right. Wow.
I don't wanna lose that. So I'm not gonna just jump up and just stop.
Okay, Helen. Wow.
So if
Well,
someone needs to call me, they can and they
they
can
can.
contact you and get the number.
Okay, and you have an email.
Yes. It's
Okay.
info@helentaxservice.com.
Okay, absolutely. Well, Helen, see, this wasn't that difficult. And
No, it wasn't. And I'm looking at your time up there. An hour has passed, Denise.
yeah, it has passed. We have gone past an hour.
Okay.
So I want to thank you for taking time out. Family, we have been talking to Helen's at Helen's Tax Services. She's given us a lot of good information about individual taxes, business taxes, nonprofit taxes. Helen's offering a plethora of services with bookkeeping and accounting, and this is important as far as us getting our financial matters in order. I think life could be a lot better. I think this is information that uh, should be taught. Some of this information should be taught in high school, you know,
Yeah.
to help people because people don't know how to manage their money and how to budget and organize their finances and end up often in financial ruin, you know, when they have to learn it the hard way. So you can almost teach a course at a high school, you know.
Uh, oh,
Absolutely, absolutely. So we're asking you again. This podcast will be aired on our website anytime somebody wants to watch it, and you can come to our website also and subscribe so that you can win our book of the month, as we mentioned earlier. Um, our Secret Societies by Tanisha C. Ford, Molly Moon, and the Glamour Money and Power Behind the Civil Rights Movement. This is an interesting read. And you can become eligible to win this book by subscribing to rrgbc.org. You can also go to our website and you can donate to help our efforts in terms of what we're doing. We're working on building out a directory. We have over 800 businesses to go on that directory, so it's just a daunting task and taking time to get it completed, but we're working on it. And also, we have a page where you can purchase items, and that would benefit our organization as well. So again, we've been with Helen at Helen's Tax Services, learning about taxes and financial planning and bookkeeping and accounting. This has been an interesting conversation. And again, Helen, I want to thank you for coming.
thank you for having me.
All right, and we want everyone to have a good night.
Good night.